you probably all seen my messages on WhatsApp all day today, but you're in for a treat. We've got Fred down to the gym. I used to train with Fred back in Leeds. Hands down one of the best coaches I've ever trained with. Polaris veteran, European champion, black and brown belt. So you're in for a treat tonight. Absolutely no pressure.
No.
There we go. So, I hope everyone enjoys it, and I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, perfect. Right, guys, he always misses off silver world medalist as well, but he doesn't. Right, so we're just going to do a nice little easy warm-up that's accessible to everybody. We'll be doing some good side control escapes. So the warm-up's just going to be, I'm going to have my elbows and knees in under my partner like this. Okay, my goal is keep my elbows and knees together and not let my partner get in between my elbows and knees, right? So that's kind of what they're trying to do. And what I'm trying to do is to get my near side knee to the opposite side of his body. So I'm trying to straighten up and get one foot or one knee on either side of him. Does that make sense? So if I manage to do this, we reset, we can switch over. If he manages to get in between my elbows and knees, we reset, we switch over. Is that clear to everybody? Obviously, during the class, I will give you some really good pointers on how to actually do this effectively from the bottom person's perspective. But just for now, I just want you to play around with, can you do it? Do you get stuck? Can you get your leg across? Can you not? When you try to do it, does it just flatten you out? And we'll kind of work from there. Any questions about the warm-up drill? No? 40%, we're not genuinely trying to kill anyone at this stage, okay? We're just seeing what we run into. Oh, do we clap?
Yeah, we clap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you count to 3 and clap? Or do you?
I always count to 3. Yeah.
So do you go 1, 2, clap, or 1, 2, 3, clap?
1, 2, 3. Clap.
Right, let's try that. Okay, shall we try 1, 2, 3? Let's go. That was good. That was a good clap. Hopefully we all feel a little bit warmed up. I know side control escapes can kind of do your hips a little bit, so let's break this into stages. So my knees and elbows are inside his knees and elbows, okay? But when we get past, it's kind of a horrible feeling, you know, all your frames go and he gets to this position. He's got all the inside space, so he's between my knees and elbows. His underhook is between my elbow and my body. His knee is between my other elbow and my body, and he's got control of my head and shoulders. So it's about, you know, as bad as it gets. Sometimes I feel like escaping side control is actually harder than escaping mount. Now we want to start by getting this knee and this elbow in. We'll deal with the elbow next because actually people struggle most with the knee. So I want us to start with our elbow already in, okay? We'll talk about how to get it here afterwards, but we'll start with it in just so we can talk about this. Now obviously I want to monitor his hip so that he can't go into mount. But because of this, and people often like do this to reinforce it, and there's nothing wrong with this, because of this kind of position, people get used to doing this. They actually find it really hard to get the knee in. If my foot is below my knee and I start trying to shrimp away and get my knee in, it's pretty hard for me to get my knee in. When I come to put my knee inside, I actually want my foot higher than my knee. Now my knee comes inside really easily, okay? Do you see that? This is a common thing. Can we just go to mount? Same thing in mount, okay? Hopefully we've all seen a knee elbow escape before. So I go here, and if my foot is bent behind my knee like this, and I start trying to shrimp away and get my knee in, it just hits the back of his thigh. But as soon as I straighten my leg, it automatically just comes in as I move away. I do this, it's stuck behind his thigh. If I straighten it, as I move away, it just slides through. Does that make sense? So I actually want my foot above my knee. And it's the same, it's the same in side control. You can be here, stopping him coming into mount, that's fine. When the time comes for inserting the knee, we need to shrimp away, make sure that we're going in at the hip, and that our foot is above our knee. So as I shrimp away, it automatically just falls inside. It doesn't get stuck. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? Now, big piece of advice that I'm going to give you. Usually how this gets taught is you keep shrimping until your knee's in, and then you shrimp to the other side so you can get your foot out and you go to close guard. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. You've just been passed, you're probably really stressed, You just want to get them to close guard. You just want to hold them. But let's say you want it to be good at competition, all right? If you're down on points, which you are because they've just passed you into side control, you're 3 points down, close guard is the absolutely worst place you can be. Because if I put Sean in close guard here and he knows his point's up, he's just going to do this and not let me move. And now I can't do anything. So if you're regarding from a position where you're down on points or advantages, close guard's not the place to be. Close guard's a great place to be if it's neutral, even, or if you're up on points, fantastic place to be. If you're down on points, I'd rather you go to half guard because you can be offensive from there and try and get those points back. So we're in side control. We'll talk about our hands after. Please make sure that you've got this arm in for now. We'll talk about this after. Make sure that you are stopping the person from going into mount. When it comes to inserting the knee, you can shrimp away. Make sure the foot is higher than the knee and the foot will come in much easier. Once we're in this position, we can start using our elbow on the hip and our knee to start pushing away and getting some distance. But what I'm actually going to do, rather than putting it through to this side of his body and shrimping to close guard, I'm going to put my knee up between his legs and shrimp so that I go into half guard. He's probably still smashing me from here. Go ahead. But now I'm in a half guard position. I can start going to far more offensive positions and turning it around, whereas from close guard I can't if he just sits on my hips. All right? I'll go through the transition to half guard a little bit as we kind of go along, because it's going to be a lot easier when we know what we're doing with all our other arms and legs. But the first thing is I just want to make sure we're getting that knee in properly. That makes sense? All right? We're clear? Okay, 1, 2, 3, let's go. You need to straighten your leg so that your foot is above your knee and start trying to scoop in at the hip. So you feel where his hip is here? His hip's higher up. Keep shrimping away. Yes, and scoop your leg in. And now you scoop back. Now you could go back, scoop him the other way. Yeah, beautiful. And now you've got one leg either side of him, as easy as that.
As easy as
Just
that.
as we were doing, you know when we did the warm-up?
Yeah.
And we were trying to get him back in between our legs? There you go. We'll start with our elbow and we'll talk about how to get this in, right? First job is make sure he doesn't step into mount. Okay? So when he tries to step into mount, I obviously block him. Then I need to shrimp away and insert my knee. If I keep my foot bent to my hip, right? Keep your hip walking towards my knee. Yeah, don't let me do it. And I do this, it can be really hard to insert it. Keep doing that. But as soon as my foot goes above my knee, it slides in a lot easier. And then from this position, I just scoop back inside, preferably to a half guard. Because from a half guard, I can start being more offensive than from close guard. Okay? Probably still feels pretty hard. The reason for that is we've only got one limb, or trying to get one limb in a good position. We need preferably all 4 limbs in a good position, but we'll kind of work on it as we go. So the next thing that we need to talk about is, now that we've talked about getting this knee in here, and it's a lot easier honestly if your leg's straight and you just move away, then your knee just slips in rather than being here, and then you actually physically have to like move far enough to pop your knee fully inside. Whereas if you just do this and move away, now it's in. Now you can bend your leg and get it in, okay? So that makes a big difference. The other thing that's going to make a difference is having this on his hip. Because if you have it on his hip, you can hold him in place and make space. So as you shrimp away, you can kind of keep him at distance. Now the correct position for this is you don't want it too far in so that your hand's here. If he sits his hip down to the floor slowly, he'll like hyperextend your elbow the wrong way. You've got any bicep at all. So it wants to be about halfway. If it's too shallow, he'll get back inside it too easily. When you bridge towards him, make sure that at least your near side leg is pointing that way. So when you bridge, you can really move. And then you slip your elbow in. And then let's assume he comes back. Still monitoring here. Now my arm's in. Then I can bridge again. Rather than just shrimping away slowly like we did before, I can bridge again and insert. Okay, now, when I'm ready to bridge, I turn my knees this way, move his head, slip my arm in. If I'm really fast, I can even go straight to putting my knee in at the same time. But probably he's going to freak out. I I get my elbow in, he can't close the distance here, so he closes back to my hip. I can't get my knee in, so then I have to go again. And I get my knee in. That makes sense? Now my knee and elbow are connected. He can push as hard as he wants now, but he's not going to get back on top of me. And then I've just got to scoop back underneath him to get him, you know, between my legs essentially. But just to reiterate, if he's already up on points and he gets here, he's just going to cover my hips and not let me move for 5 minutes, and I'm going to lose, right? Okay, so I would recommend going to half guard, but more on that at the end. So this time, can we try and get our near side arm in, then our knee, and get back to some kind of guard, okay? Make sense? All right, 1, 2, 3. Great rear guard. Yeah, very good. So going to full guard's fine, but like if you want to be really competitive, if you're losing because he passed your guard and he's in side control, going to full guard gives him a really good place just to hold you. Great. And now once you're in half guard there, you can start working to get an knee shield in, push him off, get an underhook. You can start fighting rather than from closed guard, right? The only thing I would like to see, we are going to talk about this hand, but let's pretend that this hand is in like the bad position, it's here. So see if you can get his head off center without it being in front. Yeah? Yeah. Lovely. Nice half guard. And then you can bring everything in, start pushing him off you. And you can start work, yeah, you can do knee lever sweeps, very good, yeah. You guys all right? So, no, don't do that. His arm, let go. His arm's around your head. You're trying to use this arm to punch his head that way. Yeah, this arm to punch his head that way, go ahead. Yeah, so punch his head that way. Get your right arm in, try not to fall, come back on top. Yes, exactly, but now your knee's in. No, keep your knee in, right? And now you need to scoop back under. So you see how you're out to your left side, you need to come out to your right side. Yeah, exactly, yeah, and now you're back, perfect. But my recommendation is, don't go to closed guard if you're already losing, because he will hold you in closed guard and you won't be able to move him. Let's work on getting this in first. Keep this knee real tight. So punch his head towards me. Remember when you do it, turn your knees this way so that you can get really big motion. Great. So it's going to be super easy for you. Yeah, so when you move like that, there's very few situations where you're not going to get that in. Now you're not lifting his hip as much as just holding him off you to make space. So now there's space on this side, so now make space on the other side by shrimping away. Get your knee in, yeah, and then square up. At the fundamental level, I think the knee elbow escape's always your best bet, but there are obviously going to be loads of things that's going to make it hard to do. So hopefully I can give you some useful tips to make this work. So obviously, if I don't have this arm in, it's going to be very difficult for me just to try and shrimp away and get my knee in. He's just never going to let me do it. He's always going to follow me, right? And you're never going to get it in. So ideally, I need to get this elbow in first. If I don't, I run the risk of getting armbarred on this arm as well. Okay? So I have to get this elbow in. It will help me get my knee in. It will stop me getting subbed. So the first one is kind of bash his head. Everyone seems to be doing this right. They all seem to be turning their knees the direction they're bridging and actually getting really good movement of his head so you can get your arm in. Even if he settles back on top of me now, when I start trying to shrimp away and he starts trying to follow me, go ahead, it's much harder for him because I've got at least something to hold him off. And then I can get my knee in. But there's obviously going to be a time where you're just against that massive, guy usually in his 40s, gone to the doctor, pretend he's got low testosterone and get some, some test, okay? All right? Not that I know any of those guys, okay? So when you do, there's a lot of very suspiciously quiet people in the room. Okay, so when I do this and I try to get my arm in, he just keeps his knee too tight, okay? So it's just like, oh man, I'm doing this, I just can't move this guy. We need some tricks to get this arm in, so I'm going to show you a couple now. It sounds counterintuitive, but if you really can't get the arm in by manipulating the top of his head, you actually need to turn away from him slightly. Okay, keep this tight, please. Make it realistic. Yeah. So turn away from him slightly, and what we're going to try to do is to move my upper body away to get my arm in. Does that make sense? By turning my knees the wrong way and moving my upper body away. And he'll often help this because he'll often have like the worst cross face in the world that you've ever felt. He doesn't care that you've got a people-facing job to go to in the morning. He's just like killing you. Go ahead. right? So then I'm turning and I'm moving my body away and I'm shuffling my elbow in. This one works very often when he's keeping it so tight that you can't turn towards him. So did you see what I did? Right? I went this way and kind of shuffled away from him. He's often pushing you that way, so it's often easier than you think. And I can bring my elbow inside. Then I just have to be smart. Don't let him go back into mount as I did it, right? If I stay like this, he might just step into mount. So I can't stay here. I have to be pretty quick. Monitor him not coming into mount, and then it's the same thing again. Now the elbow's in. This will definitely work to get your knee in. Okay? And then we can re-guard or go to half guard, which we'll spend 10 minutes at the end of the class on how to do that properly. Turn away, move your upper body away and try and get your elbow in. Not always going to work. So then there's another one, which is very, very effective, but you have to be careful. If you stay here, he's going to kneel on your bicep and then you're going to be in an even worse situation. Okay? So what we're going to do is keep it real tight. We're going to move ourselves, like shoulder walk upwards to get my tricep to the floor, and then I'm going to bridge him. Okay, try and step over my bicep so that I end up in a tough situation. Okay, remember, I need to turn my knees towards him. From here, I haven't got the shoulder flexibility. So often I need to like shimmy to get here. And I do a bridge at the same time and get my elbow in. This one's never failed me. I've always managed to get my elbow on the inside, but I have occasionally been trapped by their knee on my bicep and then I'm really stuck. Okay, so this is like a Hail Mary. You really need to escape. You cannot get the arm in whatever you're trying. You would rather not put yourself at risk of getting a worse pin, but there's 30 seconds left. You have to try something. That's the time to do this. Okay, there's a risk that he'll kneel on it. All right, but you've got to escape. So you try it. You end up in a worse situation. You can justify that with, well, I knew what my choices were. I knew this was a bad choice. I had to try it. I still lost. You were losing anyway if you're in side control. So, losing when the situation's within the parameters that you set is you can cope with it. You can justify it to yourself. Oh, if you hadn't have knelt on my bicep, I would have been okay. It's just a cope, isn't it? But you can justify it, right? If you just lie there, legs flailing in the air, and you can't escape, and you don't try to escape, that's a real loss, isn't it? Okay, so that's how we cope. All right, let's try it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, don't like a black belt, that one. And then, yeah, there we go. If he falls, get the bottom knee in. Oh. Yeah, right knee. Yeah, there you go. Go on. Try not to fall down. Try to stay on top. Okay, switch over. This is the right thing. You've got to get this knee in front of his leg. Keep going. Yes. Correct. Now, you're going to straighten back up. So you're going to try to point the knee at the ceiling over here. So come this way with your knee. Keep going. Keep pushing and bringing your knee this way. Push, 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 push. Keep going. This is good. Okay. Keep going. So don't make it too hard for him on the first one so he can feel it. So keep pushing him away and trying to turn your knee up at the ceiling. Yes. This bit was good. Now the hard bit is to get my knee up to the ceiling. So I go pushing, 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 like up to the ceiling. Now I have him. So when I drop my knee down to the floor, I would rather have stepped on his foot so that when I drop my shin down and he tries to jump over, there's a block in front and there's also weight on it. So when he tries to like knee cut, it's just not going to happen. From here, I then point my knee at the ceiling just like I would be doing if I was doing a full regard, except when I do it this way, you can see that he's actually kind of getting tilted. And in fact, if I'm a bit smart and just bump him, often you'll take him over from here. But let's assume that that doesn't happen. Okay, now I'm in half guard. Now from this position, you're generally going to have a much easier time of getting your hands connected and start pushing him off. I sometimes just like give a little bit of a bump to get my hands inside and start fighting his upper body grips, and at the same time shrimping out and putting a knee shield in. It's fairly easy to start separating his hands now that you're on your side. It's very difficult in side control because your shoulders are pinned, but now that my shoulders are not pinned and I can kind of move away, it's a lot easier to get my hands in. The key here though is you're going to feel like you really want to get your hands in first, but the key is going to be the knee shield. So while I definitely suggest, you know, like moving this hand inside, trying to connect, starting to separate, trying to get on my side as much as possible, you still want to have a knee inside. That's the real pushing power, is with your legs rather than your hands. So while that's happening, I can be shrimping out and again just inserting my leg here. If my knee, keep tight, if my knee is like bent like this, it's going to be really hard to get the front of my knee in. If I straighten my leg and I shrimp, it's a lot easier to get my like knee in front of his hip, and then I can bend it and put it in. Does that make sense? Like I use the distance to line my knee up with his hip, and then I stick it in like this. Now this is quite a low knee shield, hard to do much with it, but if I combine it with this, now suddenly life becomes much rosier. Okay, again, we hopefully do all that in one move. Here's the tricky bit. Try to find this. You can't always do it. So if you can't find it, you can kind of chill out here. This is a pretty strong position. Your knee and elbow connected. He's not going to be able to do much. He's going to be moving around. Try, like, yeah, break this connection. You know, you will find it. Once that's in, your knee can drop into this space, which makes it much easier to collect his leg. Now I'm in half guard. You know, you can choose the half guard that you want to play with. I'm going to suggest you don't want to be on your back at all, so I would not go for like the lockdown. Remember, he can't move in a lockdown, but you're losing. So you want him to move, you need to be able to move yourself. So we want to go back to being on our side as much as possible. Knee shield, hands in. It can keep real tight. It can often be hard to get this hand in. If we had time, I'd give you some tips, but we don't have time. So getting this one in first and fighting in can often be very helpful. That makes sense. I just put this hand in and then I just crawled it up my head. Okay, and then it will make his control on your head much, much harder to maintain. Okay. Now, it's obviously going to come down to how good your half guard is. Some people might never have played half guard before, but I think you should be able to transition into the half guard effectively. Try to step on his calf, then you can bring your shin low, and then if you just point your knees at the ceiling, it will almost be effortless, and you'll almost feel like you tilt them slightly. If you do, you could do a big bridge and roll them over. Okay, can't do that from guard. So you know, it's a better system to hit if you're down on points trying to re-guard. We good? Let's give it a go then. 1, 2, 3.
About bringing your hand.
Yeah.
Did you use your head almost to create a little gap?
Yeah, I'm just kind of pushing. So if you get me in like side control here, or like I'm in half guard like this, and you get like a tight whatever, and you keep your listen to my shoulder with your ear, right? It can be very hard for me to get my hand in, right? But I can often, especially if I'm like bridging a bit, get to here. Now keep it tight. So I can keep bridging and I can keep working my head inside your shoulder.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing really. Once my head's like inside your shoulder, it's so hard for you to hold on to me. So it's not that I'm pushing with my head, it's I'm trying to slip my head. Once my arm's there, it's not very hard for me to slip my head inside your shoulder. Right. And if my head's below your shoulder, you can't cross face me. Yeah. So then like you can hold on and maybe I won't move, but you're gonna have to let go because you're not in a good position. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's not so much that I'm like using my head. It's like I get this in and then I just move my head inside the line of your shoulder. So we really need to take it easy. I know it's going to be kind of hard for some of us to take on the chin because you're going to lose loads of these rounds, but you are starting in like one of the worst positions, so try to factor that in. Rather than fighting to the death and potentially hurting someone who's less experienced or a lot lighter than you or a lot slower than you might be smaller than them, but like just like a bullet train, okay? We just got to be a little bit careful here because you are going to be matched up with people you might not usually be matched up with, genders, age, etc., weight, okay? And we want everyone to get something out of it. So we want to really be seeing like, can I escape against this massive person or not? Oh, I can do it against the lighter guys, I can do it against guys my size, can't do it against the heavy guys, can do it against the fast guys, and kind of use it to gather some data rather than being like, I'm going to stay out the whole time and just prove that I am the best fundamental, you know, whatever. So we'll try, yeah, the black belts are shaking their heads because it's a real problem, okay? Coach, do you mind if I just use you? So the game's going to be, we're going to have some, there's like loads of us, so we're going to have a few people out. Winner stays on the bottom, okay? So if you win, you lie down. Challenger comes to whenever someone becomes available, right? So Coach Sean just got available, so I come out, I get him in side control. I have got a crossface and an underhook. I'm not just staying here squeezing for dear life. The way that I win is coming over into mount and staying here. If I get here, I win, I stay on, someone new comes into this position. The way that the bottom person wins is getting both their legs back in front. So he starts going for the escapes we were doing. He gets to here, this is not enough, his other leg is not in front, okay? He can either go full guard or half guard, but he must have this leg in front as well. So he must be in some kind of knee shield. He gets here, he wins. I can think in my head, well, I'd smash him from here. That doesn't matter, okay? You lost the round, because the round is, he wins by getting back to a guard with both legs in front, I win by mounting him. So when I do this at my place, the big issue that I have is the person on top just stays still and just squeezes, all right? That's not the game. To win, you have to mount. But when you mount, there's going to be movement, which makes it more easy for the person on the bottom to escape. So it's kind of like, you know, if you lose, it's not the end of the world, guys. We're just getting as much practice in as we can. Yeah, perfect. Okay guys, I just want to say thank you very much for having me. I was really impressed by not only the facilities, but how many people are in the fundamentals class. I felt like it was a really good training environment. You guys are super sensible, you're working really hard, but also sensibly. I saw several people hitting the half guard, re-guard. I don't know if you've kind of done that before, but I was pretty impressed by, you know, your attention to detail and how well you're actually effectively doing it. We've also got quite a few like younger people in the room. No one's like smashing them and then dancing about afterwards. So I saw a few people like, you know, concede positions. That's just a sign of a really healthy academy. So well done. A lot of that is the coaches, but a lot of it's the people who come and train as well. So I just want to say, you know, as far as I'm concerned, coming in, that's just really positive. So well done. Just stick to it. Man, Jiu-Jitsu, you've chosen a hard thing. You know, it took me 12 or 13 years to get my black belt. It wasn't easy. So I just think that if you can stick it, it's definitely worth it. It's be something that not many people have achieved. Just don't quit when you get your blue belt, guys. That's the biggest thing that I can say. Okay, but that's it for me. Thank you very much, and hopefully see some of you in the advanced class afterwards. Okay. Right. Well done today, guys. Thank you very much. Nice work today. Really good. I was impressed. Really good. Well done. Hey guys, again, we're just going to do, I know most of us are probably already warmed up, but we're just going to be doing some De La Riva passing. So I'm going to show you like what the current meta is at the world level. I mean, I think it's a bit above what you actually need to like in the gym, but you know, I think it's interesting to have a look at what the world class guys are doing and try to understand it. And obviously then if you're doing it as well, then it should give you an advantage, okay? So to get warmed up, we're just going to start with the grip on the lapel. It doesn't really matter what, and we're just going to get to a guard, okay? So actually what we'll do is we'll start here to start before we go standing, because I just don't know everybody and I don't know if there's going to be any crazy shit going on. So we'll start on the ground. So I've got a posting hand, my feet are out to the other side, and I've got a grip on whichever lapel I feel comfortable. They kind of do different jobs depending on where you grab, but we'll just start here. My job is to get my legs in to some kind of guard. I want 4 points of contact. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can't be like flailing around like this or something. I need 4 points of contact. You might not have any guards, so just put your feet on him and put your hands on him, and that's it, you win, okay? Shouldn't be too hard for the top person to deal with, because from this position, my legs are here, and my legs have got to go to there, so they're not going to come from this direction, they're always going to come from this direction. So it's going to be fairly easy for him to see when I'm moving, get control of my legs, and not allow me to play a guard with 4 points of contact. That's his goal. So if we're here for like 3 seconds, I'm trying to re-guard and he's just not letting me have 4 points of contact, he wins, we switch. Okay, if I do manage to get, so stop me, okay, yeah, stop me, I win, okay? Right? I had to be a bit smart, because if I just go, he's going to stop me. So I had to like you know, give him something else to think about and then go. If I get 4 points of contact, I win, and we switch. All right? So it's good practice for the bottom person. It's fantastic practice for the top person, just not letting that guard player get connected and then being like, man, I'm now passing from a really hard position. You'd much rather be passing with one of their legs between your legs or something where it's a bit easier to work. Does that make sense? All right, so hopefully that's transferable to what we'll do afterwards. And so that if you've never like played an open guard, you can at least be like, oh, this is just the warm-up. Make sense? 1, 2, 3. If the guy on the bottom can't get to 4 points of connection in 3 to 5 seconds, the top person wins. Okay, we've got to be pretty speedy with this. We can't just be messing about, flailing about for a long time. We have to get to our guard. If we can't, we switch positions. Make sense? The person managed to get 4 points of connection on me, right? A really, really tough guard to break. We're going to talk about doing long step passes from here. We're going to have him working with a leg grip at the moment, so that my hands are free. But if we get time, we'll talk about what to do when he has a sleeve grip. So first things first, I've got to be really careful of getting off balanced, okay? I definitely don't want to pressure into him at this point. I don't want to take any grips on his upper body and start trying to pull myself in, because he will off balance me very easily. So I'd like to get rid of the lapel grip. It's not always possible. First things first, pull on me, sit. Okay, now when he tries to pull, it's very, very difficult for him to move you. I would like from this position to strip the grip in the direction of his thumb. Don't go down here on the gi and start pulling, hold tight, start pulling on his gi or low down his wrist, because there's a lot of slack in here. So most of the power that you're trying to transfer into his grip is just being used by tightening the gis, this gi here and this gi here. So come right up to the meat of his hand, don't grab any fingers or anything, just come up to the meat of his hand and push it in the direction of the way his thumb's pointing, okay? He's probably going to re-grip this, so constantly you're going to be fighting it. But once this is off, we're working on getting this De La Riva hook out. So I'm going to walk my toes outwards so that my knee points into his knee, so this pops off. I'm going to have a grip on his pants, and I'm never going to push into this, okay? I'm always going to just step off it so he's not connected to me. The whole point is I don't want him to have 4 points of connection. So he's now down to 1 point of connection, okay? From this situation, it's okay to pressure in. So I'm going to come in, try and keep my elbow and knee connected, and take a lapel grip. The idea here is we're going to be doing long step passing. So before we talk about how to get from here to the long step pass, we need to actually be comfortable in what we're trying to achieve with a long step pass. But first of all, we're just going to do this little drill so that we kind of know where we're going. So even if you don't know what De La Riva is, you can just have the guy's feet on the outside of your legs, and you can have a lapel grip, and you can hold the opposite foot. That makes sense? So even if you're not really sure what you're doing with these legs, lapel grip, opposite foot. He's going to pull on you. Whoa. Okay, so sit. Pull on me now. Much harder. Get rid of the grip. Drive one knee, usually on the side where he's holding, into the back of his knee. So when he tries to put this hook in now, it's difficult. This is not in a good position for him. He'd kind of want it in front. If it's over your hip, you're good to go. If it's on you, you don't want it connected. So you can pull it off your hip or step off it. So now he has no connection. Take the lapel. One more time. Let's assume that we do know what we're doing this time, and he's playing proper De La Riva. He's going to pull on you. Sit. Strip. Break the connection of the hook. Step off this. Now there's 1 point of connection. From this position, we can start long stepping. But before we start doing that, we really need to understand what we're doing. So I would like us to break the connections from De La Riva. The reason we were doing that warm-up, if I allow him to stay connected, I am probably going to lose. I think Darragh O'Connell said on Instagram recently, and I 100% agree with him, in the gi player on the bottom has a massive advantage. If you are connected and playing a guard, you can exert far more leverage on the person who's standing than the top person can do if they're connected and passing. okay? If you've got a good guard and you're fully connected, the bottom position is stronger. So it should be, obviously it's different for self-defense or MMA or whatever, but if you're a gi bro or sister, right, you want to race to the bottom position, you want to get connected, okay? That's the whole point, all right? Being able to fight off your back, that's the whole reason we did it, right? Weaker, smaller person, be able to beat a bigger person, you need all your limbs to do it, you're on the floor, all right? So, as the top person, we don't let them have that advantage, break all those connections, okay? If you're really kind of fumbling, it's not too hard, it's not too hard to kind of figure out, this is a connection, get rid of it. This is a connection, get rid of it. This is a connection, get rid of it. The only one you're not going to be able to easily break is the foot, but we're going to talk about that in detail. Make sense? Okay, right, 1, 2, 3. Do you know what you're doing with the De La Riva guard? Yeah, you do. Now reach up and grab his lapel. Perfect, lovely. Yeah, you're pretty happy. She's not kind of connected with her legs anyway because she doesn't know how to play De La Riva, so you're in a good position to start passing. Now there are a couple of drawbacks to this, which are that you're kind of giving up a little bit of head height. So if you don't know what you're doing, you can end up in the bottom position. The advantageous thing to this is if you're very athletic, or if your technique's just good and you can move side to side effectively, it's very hard for the bottom person to keep up, okay? Because they have no connections. So, you know, if you're an older, stronger TRT guy, this might not be the style of passing because you might prefer to, I wasn't looking at anyone. You might prefer to like do some kind of tight passing like an over-under pass or something, a knee smash pass. You might prefer that kind of style. But certainly if you're like younger or more athletic or competing at a very high level, then this is the kind of passing that they're currently doing. It might change in the future, but it's currently what's happening. So let's talk about what to do. So before we pass from De La Riva, what I'm going to want is a pant grip. It can be this pant grip, but we're going to go with the top pant grip and we're going to go with the cross lapel. So I've got diagonal control. I've got control of both sides of his body, okay? I could pull his head towards me, I could pull his feet towards me, I could push his head away, I could push his feet away, and I can pin him quite effectively by putting pressure in opposite directions so he can't move. So it's good control, I've got diagonal control. Now for the long step, what I need to do is I'm going to sit onto my elbow out here. Now here comes the problem because I am kind of falling onto a hip, and sometimes when you're on a hip, this is you giving up like a good position. So you really need to know what you're doing to make this work. When you fall onto the hip, your goal is to be on his shoulder line. So if you imagine an invisible line that connects his shoulders, I want to be on that line here, so I'm above his head. So if he starts trying to turn on top of me or whatever, it should be very hard because I've got this, but I should always have the head height. If I'm down here like this and he starts turning on top of me, it's quite conceivable that he might get the head height and beat me. So I need to make sure that if I'm doing this, I'm constantly on his shoulder line, and if he keeps moving, then I'm moving and I'm constantly on his shoulder line. I can't be messing about down here. Does that make sense to everyone? The next thing is, my only job from here, people make it really complicated, is just to beat both his legs with my legs. So if I can get my bottom knee in between his bottom leg and his elbow, I've got control of his top leg. If he starts trying to re-guard from here, go ahead, like make a serious effort. Okay, I'm always going to win. Okay, that's it for the long step. I just need to make sure that I have a knee in between his leg and his body and his elbow. I could be up here. This is fine still. Right, my knee is in between. This is a pass for me. I can keep this in. I could pull this in and come into knee on belly. I could start tripoding up and punching this down and jumping round so he has no frames in. And that is, yeah, the preferred method, because then he has no ability to re-guard. That makes sense? So it's pretty simple. Near side elbow lapel. We're going to go with the top side pant grip. I'm going to fall to my elbow. I want to be on his shoulder line. I obviously want my head connected to him. I don't want him to just be able to start framing on me. So I'm just got my head up at the minute because I'm talking. But really I'd be like down here. The whole point of the shoulder line thing is to stop him building head height. If I'm down there and he gets up on his elbow, he could conceivably come over me. Then I'm going to lose. If I'm up here and he tries the same stuff, it's going to be very difficult for him. Okay. Second thing, just beat his legs with your knee. There's a couple of, well, there's 3 good ways actually. I might as well show all of you because you all did really well if you were here in the fundamentals. First one is just bring your bottom knee in and start pushing the top leg away. Right, this is a pass. Second good one is bring the outside knee into knee on belly. If you're that kind of mean person, this is a really good pass. Third good one is, when he obviously is good and he starts trying to bring the bottom leg in, go ahead. You can just switch to the bottom leg and punch it out. That's probably my preferred one. He just gives you the bottom leg. If you were here in the fundamentals class, that's the leg he needs to put into regard. So I would rather have control of that one, but I don't start with it because now I don't have control of both sides of his body. It's hard to stop him moving. Did you see that? Try to do that same thing. Right, more difficult because I've got control of both sides of his body. Makes sense? So you often start with the cross lapel and the cross pant leg, but you can switch to the near side leg once you're up on his shoulder line and you've beaten his legs. So I just want us to play around with the position. We're going to talk about how to get here. But for example, if I'd just been in De La Riva, keep holding my foot, and I've got rid of all his frames, I would just come here. Okay, head in to this position. He starts trying to regard. My preference is always just walk back towards his hips and grab the bottom leg. And essentially, it's a very simple but very, very effective passing sequence. Okay, I'm going to show you some nice follow-ups and how to get here, but that's the basics of it. I want you to practice being in the long step position and not just immediately letting them regard. Okay, using the details we talked about. Up on his shoulder line, and you need legs in between his legs and his elbows, essentially. All right, whatever, you can get creative with it, really. Okay, just make sure that you don't let him build head height on you, and that's the danger from this position, is that you're kind of giving up height advantage, but what you gain is massive angular advantage. And if you think about passing people's guards, one of the big components about passing people's guards is having angle, right? So this is a massive advantage to have. If I have to give up a little bit of height to get it, a competitor would probably say it's worth it because I've got angle, and that's the hardest thing. I could have all the height in the world and not have any angle, and it ain't gonna help, right? This is, in fact, a bad thing. So if you passed his legs and you're low down, not the end of the world. Not ideal, but pretty strong as far as passing goes. Okay, let's just give that a go then. 1, 2, 3. This is obviously super hard to strip. So if we're here, I'm sitting, I'm trying to get rid of this, I'm trying to pop this out, and I notice you've got like this pant grip. A couple of ways that I can do it. I'm going to step back, but obviously if I step too far, I'm going to get swept. So, you know, this is the issue with the long step. I don't want to give that up. So it's a little bit of a step off here, and then just be careful with your hand. That's one really good one, but it's going to hurt your hand. Another really good one, if I feel like I can't, because obviously sometimes you might like put your leg like here on my thigh, so you're still stopping me, and I can't do this kind of thing. In this situation, I take both pant legs, I really pressure in, and then I pull this one past me, and then go. This grip's now pointless. Doesn't stop me long stepping. I mean, I could actually just go straight into knee on belly. So both those are. I mean, anyone good, that's what they're going to do. They're going to hold. Well, they'll either have your sleeve or they'll have your pant. All right, no worries. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm here for, really. But yeah, that. But if they really blast through it, you can hurt yourself. You know, you hurt your fingers. You can do. So, keep going. Yeah, keep working. Like vulnerable, you do. But that's because you've... Okay guys, let's bring it in then please. So let's have a look at two different situations. So we've stripped the grips for De La Riva, so you just go down. And he's just holding my foot. Now generally the best way, there's two ways of dealing with grips, right? Number one, break the grip. Number two, work around the grip. The grips that we've broken so far, lapel grip, okay, we could break it, all right? We can get his feet off me fairly easily. But trying to get rid of this foot grip, especially we'll see later on, like if he holds the pants, is going to be very, very hard. So we need to work around it. So generally, pass to the same direction the grip's on. If he can hold my pants, please. Okay. If I try to pass the opposite way, like, it's not going to happen, but I can pass towards the side it's on. So for now, just hold my ankle. Hold it. So for now, we're going to hold the ankle. Notice I have beaten the knee. My knee is like higher than his knee here. I'm holding this, and I'm holding the lapel on the same side as the the ankle grip. Now, what I'm not going to do is start driving forwards into him. This is good for certain positions, like if I'm knee smash passing and things like this is really good, but we're doing long step. So what I actually want to do is I want to get an angle out to the side. Should be very easy for you to do if he's just holding your ankle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive my knee across his shin. You're not going to make any friends, but I'm going to point my toes outwards, which I should be able to do because he's just holding my ankle, and I drive my knee across his shin. Put myself on the elbow, up at the shoulder line. Yeah, start working. Okay, make sure that I beat his legs with my legs. That could be any of the situations we looked at. Okay, he's probably going to start bringing his legs in. I just keep moving up to the shoulder line and just bring my knees inside of his. Okay, I can even put myself back up into a knee cut if I want. It's very, very simple. So if we did it a bit faster. Very effective passing. Okay, so again, the detail is, once all his frames are off, I'm cutting out wide to get angle. This, the whole reason I'm sacrificing the height is so that I can get angle out here. If I stayed high and I ran this way, it's not going to be particularly difficult, go ahead, for him just to regard. Right, so I'm here. Here. Okay, and then it's just the same rule. Stay up to his shoulder line, beat his knees with your knees or legs. Okay, often I kind of wait here, keep walking up to his shoulder line, he starts trying to regard, I grab his bottom leg. Now I know he can't regard, and we're good. That's usually my way of operating. We're good with that, guys? Okay, just do it on the other side. We've broken all the grips, but he's holding my shin. You can see if you're young and athletic, I mean, I can't do this anymore, but like if you're young and athletic, you could do that very fast and they won't even have time to regard. If you're less young and athletic, you can still do it effectively if you just know what the parameters are. Up to their shoulder line, so they can't build height over you as easily. Beat their legs with your legs. Knee on belly is a good one. I like to grab the bottom leg and just push it. Okay, as soon as they present it, and they're going to present it, guys, because you bring the bottom leg into regard. So I'm literally just, as soon as he presents it to me, which he's going to do in most cases, I just move it out of the way and pass. That makes sense? Okay. Please be careful now because we're going to be cutting angles. All right. Yeah, don't like step on anyone. Don't drive directly into the knee either. You're not loading yourself up. You're not trying to staple this, okay? We're going out to the side. All right, 1, 2, 3, foot on. So, sorry, bottom person. Yeah, so if he's holding there, then exactly, you're passing to your right. So you hold his lapel with your right. Now you want to cut your... Not so nice on the hand, is it? Not quite on the shoulder line. So it's not too hard for you to like frame on me here and then just bring your bottom leg back in. And then you're kind of like almost getting triangle or arm barred. So you really want to get, when you do it, when you come in here, like up here. Makes sense, like you want to be. So even when he starts regarding, you don't immediately land. Look, I'm not immediately in a triangle now, am I? No. So now I can fight. Whereas if I don't get it, that's when you can swap. Yeah, that's one of them. There's loads of good ones. But if I kind of cut down here and he regards, like I'm almost putting myself in a sub. So you know, there's elements of risk with it. You've got to get high. That's the whole deal. Just right up there. Yeah, yeah. It's not everyone's style. Some people might prefer to stay tight on the hips and yeah. Delightful. That's exactly it. See? So he couldn't even bring the bottom leg in there. Do you see how he couldn't actually reach you with his bottom leg because you just kept moving around? So then you can just come into knee on belly. You don't even have to grab the bottom leg because he couldn't bring it in. So you can just, so if he's not giving it to you, just get straight on top. Yeah. You know, if it's right in front of you and it's a pain, move it out. Yeah. So let's talk about a more realistic situation, which is where they hold the pant grip. So when they hold the pant grip, you're going to struggle to just, I mean, if you can do it hard and fast enough, then you should still, let's do the other side so more people can see. Right, he's now holding my pants, okay? This can make it very, very difficult to strip it. If I've got all his frames off, I might still be able to do it. It's not very nice on your fingers, is it? Okay. But sometimes you just got that grip and you just can't strip. So just like a safety thing for this next one, it's definitely going to hurt people's grips. So, I mean, if you want, I guess you can test it to see how much it hurts your grip, to see if you can really hold on. Okay. But then after that, I suggest just letting go, because it's going to be like over the course of the next 5 minutes, it's going to be a lot. All right. Just never put your fingers inside their pants, because you won't be able to let go. If you let go here, your fingers are no longer connected. If you let go here, your fingers are still connected. And if he's run to the side of the room, your fingers have followed with him. So fingers outside the pants, please. Sometimes people end up leaving their thumb in, because they use their thumb, which is correct, to like get the grip and roll it over. But please don't leave your thumb inside. Thumbs are very, very painful. If you've ever like done this, it's a nightmare, okay? So first job here. He's holding my pants, and I realize it might now be hard to cut out to the side because he's just got that little bit of extra connection. You can try it if you can send it like full send, as we say in my gym. If you can do that, then you can definitely do it. Okay, that isn't what we say at all, but it's the polite thing that we say. Right, so remember we said like step slightly off this leg to take the connection away. Just make sure you don't step so far that he kind of whoop, tips you, okay? So it's just a little step. If this foot is, he's like, I've just popped it off and it's floating below my knee, what we're going to do is just put my shin in front of his shin. So now, hold on for the first one just for fun. Okay, there's a massive shearing pressure where his own leg acts like a bar that he's having to fight against, okay? And it's massively, like, rather than before, where all this kind of moves, so try to hold on, okay, I won't do it hard, but whereas before, like, all this kind of moves, you can see that there's potential that he might, you know, if he's very strong, keep hold, okay? But now, when I come off here and I go here, none of this is gonna move. So all the force transfers into his grip, which is the only movable object. Now, don't stay down here. A few of you are staying quite low. If he kind of reguards here, just bring your bottom leg in. I'm almost like in a, I'm almost in a triangle. Does that make sense? So we really need to make sure that we are sitting up here. So when he does that initial regard, I'm nowhere near a triangle and I've got options to then counter him. Does that make sense? If I'm down here and he regards, like you're pretty close to being tapped out and you're sitting on your butt, so you're not really going to be able to defend. So it's really important that we just keep those basics in mind. I know everyone wants to do the cool looking move, but let's just make sure that we do it properly. So we're here, he's holding my pant this time, I've got rid of the connections, I'm obviously doing this all in one go, right? And then I'm driving my knee to the floor, boom, get to here, okay? Sometimes, like I'll be 100% honest, if the guy doesn't give me good reactions, I don't even need to like sit to my hip when I do this one. Sometimes I can just be like, oh, this was side control, and just crash the hips, okay? That's like a really good situation because then you're not giving up any height. You can't always do it because sometimes he follows you with the leg so effectively that if you keep this hip here, yeah, he'll get his knee inside. Whereas when I go here, obviously, there's no hip to get his knee inside. So it's a little bit more defensible in terms of him doing like a normal regard. One last time, we'll do the whole thing. Go here, sit, pull me, whoop, can't have that, pull me, here, strip, break this, step off, boom. He didn't hold the pants, he's a wuss, okay? he didn't want the smoke, all right? But seriously though, try it a couple of times so you know that you can strip their grip, and then I would also suggest not holding the pants because it's gonna really, yeah, not look good. All right.
I'll just see it on
Yeah, sure. Right. Okay.
I've managed to get one session of you not fucking up my hands.
Yeah. Right. Are we ready? Oh, you really want to see it?
Yeah.
All right. I thought you were just like.
No, I'm his
All right. You wanted him to hurt.
Suffer.
Okay. So, yes, you hold the pants. Okay. Now, so I've killed all this. I've got the connections, and I've registered that this is like a tight grip. So if his foot's low, I'm going to go here. And then I just shear. And like as you can see, there's good possibility of just passing straight into like camping positions or something from this position. You don't always have to go to a hip, okay? Because your knee ends up like quite close to his head. Whereas, can we just go with just holding my ankle grip?
Yeah.
If you try this when he's just got an ankle grip and you start trying to drive, it's actually pretty easy for him. Can you just like fish your left foot back in front of my hip? Yeah, you'll end up getting like re-guarded, which is why when it's an ankle grip, what we're doing is cutting out to the side, which kind of means you have to go to your hip. Because if you cut out to the side and you're here, it's going to be super easy for him to re-guard and very hard for you to be mobile moving that way. Because you are stapling his leg, you're kind of just driving forward and you end up like up here somewhere. So you're already on the shoulder line. You could conceivably just tackle into north-south. So it's not technically like a long step, or doesn't have to be, right? Bit more advanced than maybe necessary, but makes sense. So there's now a bit of a particular situation that we need to look at. Maybe you just didn't like that one, or you run into this particular situation, which is, can you stand actually? Okay. De La Riva is a fantastic guard, but it's kind of advanced quite a lot. So I would like you to pop, like get my knee out of position and just get my hook out, okay, and then pass. Yeah, good job. Okay. Now, I want you to do the same thing, please. Yeah, just get it out of the way. Okay. It's basically De La Riva, but I'm not using this. De La Riva is really, really powerful. I'm connected to him, allows me to do a lot of good things like off balancing him, pushing him and pulling him. But because I'm connected to him, he can also exert leverage on me if he knows how to pop this. And now I can't. So what a lot of the AOJ guys have started to do is just to play with their foot here. No De La Riva hook. Now, the downside of this is I can't push or pull him very effectively at all. But as long as I keep my knee higher than his knee, he can't exert any effective leverage on my knee. So when he tries to pass my De La Riva here, it becomes incredibly difficult. Sean will tell you this is very hard once the person on the bottom gets the knack of it. So this is like a bit of a modern variation that you might start seeing people like Colabate using. Diego Pato uses a lot just before he kind of plays sit-up guard, rather than here. They will occasionally switch to here if they need to push or pull, but a lot of the time they'll play here rather than here. Because probably, as soon as I put this in, his first thing is going to be start taking it out. Whereas when I'm here, he starts trying to take it out. I take a grip, now I play. So, you know, De La Riva's evolved a lot. I would love to teach a class on De La Riva, but we're doing this currently. So sometimes what will happen is you kill all these things, but you realize he's holding your pant. Now, for whatever reason, you can't step over here. One likely reason is that he keeps his foot high because he knows that makes it super hard for you to exert any power and kill this De La Riva. Because now when I turn my knee into it, yeah, it doesn't really work, okay? So what do I do in this situation if I realize that his foot isn't catchable? I let go of this, take his pant leg, and I drive my knee into the back of his knee. Now remember what I said, I can't get rid of his leg like this, but he also has very little pushing ability, right? Not as strong as if he had, I'm going to try to do that now and push me away. Oh, that's a big difference. So he's got less pushing ability. He is going to push back though. When he pushes, I just drag it out of the way, okay? So this is not, again, really a long step pass. You could obviously turn it into a long step pass, but probably also you just push his legs away and do a leg drag, okay? But this is how you would deal with that late stage where maybe you are doing this, you realize that he's holding your pants, you can't like, oh man, what do I do? And pass, okay? It's very hard to do this if, however, he is playing a De La Riva. So if he's adamant on playing a De La Riva and you're like trying to do this and you keep putting the hook in and you keep pushing me, and it's like, yeah, you can see how this is going to be tough to do. But when he's doing this regular De La Riva, I come in, I start setting up my long step pass, and then I'm like, I feel this foot's high. It's never going to work now. So then I just pressure in, and when he pushes back, I take it past and I pass. Okay, so not really a long step, but a really good follow-up when the guy's very smart and is adjusting to what you're doing. Make sense? Just a leg drag, guys. just literally a leg drag. But what I'm doing, and the reason I can do it, is because his foot's high. He's not got this hook. Pressuring into him with this hook is going to do very little. Okay? Pressuring into him when he's got his foot next to my hip will work miracles. Okay? Makes sense to everyone? All right. You are obviously welcome if you want. Play De La Riva and then adjust as I start fighting. Yeah, so this is the position. Boom. That makes sense. That's what he's going to do. It's a good react. They might inadvertently get it because they're playing De La Riva. You take the hook out, and then they decide they're going to go for like a tripod. So you might inadvertently get this kind of reaction. So you pressure in. Okay. Right. Last one before we do some rounds. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This gives you more like internal rotation. So this is very strong as well. But if I've like managed to point, it doesn't do so much. Yeah. And so this will make it very hard for me to deal with. Okay, but this is equally good. You know, if you've got long legs like you've got and you can put your foot on the floor as well, it will like.
I find it's like this side sometimes I've got long legs and skinny legs.
It's super easy for them to push out.
So I have to give them here to there.
They're 100%. So this is a better way of playing because actually the whole thing with De La Riva is you just want your knee higher than my knee. If your knee is higher than my knee, it's going to be super hard for me to pass. When you do this, it's lower than my knee. You've got loads of pushing and pulling. So this is great, like you can attack, you can off balance. But if I beat you to it, I've got more leverage than you've got on the knee. Yeah. So yeah, but this is exactly the same thing. So you could do this, you know, if I popped this out and I felt like I was going to pass, like I literally can't because you're turning my knee inwards. Right? But then I would have to come underneath and start. I mean, this is probably more our style as like older black belts. We probably want to be a bit tighter on the hips.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, no, it's my pleasure. So let's strip that lapel. Don't reach down and do the hand, just get the legs off you, yeah? Side, you see, so go back. But when it's on the back of pass 1, pass 2, pass 3, pass 4, that simple pass really works well because it's chained onto the back of it. So he's not thinking of, you know, if with that situation we were just in there, like if I was just like, oh, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this. Like he's never going to let you do it. But it's off the back of this, isn't it? He had all these grips. He were like strip, strip. I go here, he puts that high, I pressure in, boom. He's not as easy to deal with. Yeah. You're chaining it, so it's hard. Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah.
So we're going to do some rounds now. We'll probably keep them like quite short so we can get around as many people as possible. I can stay. I don't know what time you close the gym. But
there's about 10 of us that have got keys, so when you want to leave, mate.
Okay, cool. Well, I've got like a 2-hour drive home, so maybe not too crazy, but yeah. Okay, you've got a game plan, but it's not just going to work straight away. It's going to be tough. So we'll start from there, and then we'll keep switching and just decide who goes on bottom, who goes on top. If you're getting your ass kicked, just be honest and be like, I keep losing. Can I try bottom position or vice versa? Yeah.
So if someone passes, they
no, we'll just do normal rolls. But I'm just saying, start from there. Then we all get some. Either we get experience playing it or we get experience passing it. So, yeah.
It's always like, yeah. Hey guys, final partner. Alright, what's called now? I just want everyone to give Fred a massive thank you. For everyone agrees, it's obviously a great privilege to have Fred down at the gym. Sorry, I'm gassed from rolling with him. I can't give him the credit. But yeah, it's obviously a huge privilege for us, and I'm sure everyone learned, you know, tons from those 2 hours. So we'll just give him one more clap and then we'll...
Yeah, just I kind of came down to scout out what it's like, really. You know, hopefully we would like to maybe have an ongoing relationship, and you know, a large part of that is what the culture is like at the gym. And I've got to say, from the fundamentals class right through to this class, I've been just super impressed with, you know, how technical everybody is, how people, you know, behave, especially in those kind of tough situations where maybe having to roll with someone who's, I don't know, 20 years younger than you or whatever. And I was just really impressed that you guys can kind of tolerate and make space for everyone on the mat, whether they're, you know, trying to lose some weight, whether they're male, female, whether they're 12 and you're a grown ass man, you know, just coming after work and wanting the hardest rounds you can get. And everyone's just making space for everybody in the community, and I just think that's like a really good, healthy sign. We're a fantastic team, and the level's really high. Very impressed with what everybody's done. Fantastic, really is. Sorry, choking on
emotional. No, you were way, you were so good. Alright guys, let's do your handshake. Thanks a lot.
Cheers guys, brilliant, well done. Awesome to meet you. Thank you, well done guys. Well done, nice having you in. Well done, well done, well done. Brave, I really like to see it. Well done.